For me, it's just about getting better. Clearly, we lacked size when BG wasn't in the game, and so there's a lot of boards that were, kind of a free-for-all.
There was something in the air that night, a crackling tension, an electric anticipation as the Indiana Fever stepped onto the court to face the Atlanta Dream. For weeks, sports talk shows and media commentators paraded around the tired narrative that this team might actually be better without their superstar, Caitlin Clark, that somehow, the very player responsible for shattering, resuscitating interest in the league was the one holding her team back. But on that Friday night, the Fever didn't just win, they dismantled the Dream. They turned every doubter into a spectator, every hater into a ghost, and every whisper of doubt into stunned silence. The final score read 99-82, but the true blowout was in what it meant, the final death knell for the idea that Indiana is better without Clark. The game didn't start with domination. In fact, it was tight. Jordan Canada was relentless for Atlanta, dropping 26 points in the first half alone, trying to set the tone and throw the Fever off their rhythm. But Caitlin Clark, despite being visibly not at full strength and struggling with her shot, remained unfazed. 5 of 17 from the field, 1 of 8 from beyond the arc. Just 12 points. But you'd be a fool to judge her impact by those numbers. Because what Clark did that night was lead. She was the engine, the heartbeat, the conductor of a symphony that refused to break tempo even when the notes were off. Every dribble, every pass, every head fake was laced with purpose. Clark used Atlanta's physicality against them, attacking the rim, absorbing contact, and drawing in defenders like a magnet. And that's when the real show began. That's when the Fever came alive, not with Clark dominating the scoreboard, but with her manipulating the game like a master strategist. Her court vision unlocked players around her, created openings, and ignited something deeper in this team. This wasn't just talent. This was basketball IQ on full display. And then came Sophie Cunningham. Off the bench, she erupted like a storm held back for too long. With her family in the crowd, the weight of injuries, and the grind of the season behind her, Cunningham reminded the world exactly who she was. She poured in 16 points, grabbed 10 rebounds, and hit 4 of 5 from three-point range. But it wasn't just the stats, it was the timing. Every shot she hit mattered. Every rebound she snagged disrupted Atlanta's rhythm. And, most importantly, it wasn't Cunningham playing in spite of Clark, it was because of her. Their chemistry was palpable. Every time Clark collapsed the defense, Cunningham was in the perfect spot, waiting with her feet set and hands ready. The ball would zip from Clark's fingertips to Cunningham's shooting pocket, and the net would barely move. Boom. 3. Boom. Another. The Fever weren't reacting, they were dictating. That's the difference when Caitlin Clark is on the court. With 3 minutes and 38 seconds left in the third quarter, Indiana trailed 63-60, and then everything changed. They shut the Dream out from the field for the rest of the quarter. They closed that frame with 4 unanswered points and opened the fourth with an 11-2 run. That's the kind of sequence that kills momentum, that breaks teams, that turns close games into blowouts. That's what Clark's presence does, whether she's scoring or not. While pundits had the audacity to question her impact, as Carolyn Peck even claimed the Fever were more dangerous without her, Clark just kept playing. She never fed into the noise, never took the bait. She let her game speak. And when the lights were bright, when the pressure was high, she stepped onto the floor and reminded everyone exactly who she is. But it wasn't just Clark and Cunningham who flourished. Kelsey Mitchell led the team with 25 points, slashing through defenders like a blade. Aaliyah Boston was dominant down low, finishing with 19 points and 8 assists, a testament to the kind of inside-out balance this team thrives on when Clark is running the show. The Fever scored 59 points in the second half, their most in any half this season, and tied for their highest scoring half in the last 7 years. That's not random, that's not coincidence. That's Caitlin Clark setting the table and watching her teammates feast. Even the so-called giants of the league faded into the background. Brittany Griner, who's been vocal about Clark's rising fame and the attention she garners, was virtually invisible. Just 10 points, 8 rebounds. 4 of 11 from the field. No presence, no spark, no answer. Griner, who came into the game with something to prove, ended it looking lost and frustrated. Especially when matched against Boston, she looked like a shadow of the dominant force the league once feared. And when the Fever put their foot on the gas in the fourth, Griner was nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, the Fever were flying. Mitchell slicing, Boston pounding, Cunningham sniping. And Clark, she was orchestrating. That third quarter was the shift. The Dream were forced to react to everything Indiana did, not the other way around. And by the time they realized what was happening, it was too late. The avalanche had already begun. But beyond the stats, beyond the scoreboard, what Friday night really proved was something deeper. The narrative that the Fever are better without Caitlin Clark isn't just wrong, it's ridiculous. During Clark's injury absence, Indiana went 2-3. They struggled to close. They missed her court vision, her gravity, her ability to draw defenders and create open looks. Friday night wasn't just a bounce back. It was a correction, a reset, a powerful, thunderous response to every critic who ever dared to question her value. In Sophie Cunningham, she didn't just benefit from Clark, she elevated herself because of her. This was her Indiana breakout. 10 rebounds in a single game. That's hustle. That's hunger. She set the tone early with her relentless energy on the boards. And when her shot started falling, the Dream had no answers. This is what happens when you pair a high-Q shooter with the best facilitator in the league. Clark doesn't need to average 30 a night to be dominant. She doesn't even need to be at 100% health. What she needs is the ball in her hands and teammates who understand how to move without it. Cunningham understands that. Boston understands that. Mitchell thrives off that, and when they all click, like they did Friday night, this team becomes a problem for the rest of the league. You can't teach leadership like Clark's. You can't manufacture gravity like hers. Her presence alone changes the geometry of the floor. She opens up space that didn't exist before. She bends defenses with her movement and collapses them with her eyes. Defenders chase her like shadows, and when they do, teammates like Cunningham are left wide open to bury dagger after dagger. As Clark gets healthier, as her three-point shot starts falling again, as the chemistry with this team continues to develop, the rest of the league should be nervous. Because what we saw on Friday night wasn't the final form, it was a glimpse, it was a warning shot, and it was Clark making it very clear, the Fever only go as far as she leads them. For months, critics claimed she was too ball dominant. They said the team moved the ball better without her. But this game showed the opposite. The Fever looked confident, cohesive, and dangerous. This wasn't about one star carrying the team, it was about a superstar lifting everyone else to her level. Caitlin Clark knows she's the face of the WNBA's new era, and she's comfortable wearing that crown. She doesn't flinch under pressure. She doesn't shrink in the face of adversity. She shows up, adjusts, and conquers. Whether she's dropping dimes or dropping threes, she is the engine of this team. And as for the haters, they'll stay silent for now, licking their wounds, scrambling for new talking points. But deep down, they know the truth. The Fever are not just better with Clark, they're only a contender because of her. Friday night was a statement, and if this was just the beginning, then the rest of the WNBA better buckle up, because the Caitlin Clark Revenge Tour, oh, it's just getting started. What do you think, Fever fans? Was this the turning point of the season? Can Sophie Cunningham continue this momentum off the bench? And do you think Caitlin Clark deserves more credit even when her shots aren't falling? Let us know in the comments. Smash that like button if you believe the Fever are back. And don't forget to subscribe for more fiery WNBA breakdowns.